This afternoon we'll be discussing some good news stories, hopefully, that have emerged despite the tough times over the last 18 months. Today we'll have a look at a range of projects that have managed to sidestep the effects of the GFC in our industry, including Hamilton Harbour HQ and 111 Eagle Street. Okay, our first speaker, Andrew Borgia, the Executive Director, State Manager of Queensland Leighton Properties. Could you please join me in welcoming Andrew to the stage?
One of the projects that we have released 2 weeks ago on the 22nd of October was Mosaic in the Valley, and the relevance of it is that 2.5 years ago we started working with the landowner there and about doing a commercial building. Unfortunately, some of the site amalgamation process we missed the cycle in terms of that site and for that tenant. But in a matter of 6 months, we've been able to turn that project round from being commercial focused to mixed use, launch it, and I think it's a continual theme you'll see.
A healthy attitude to living, a vibrant entertainment and social life, as well as a place to escape from it all. One development brings together all the best pieces of the valley. Mosaic apartments start from $365,000. Invest now and secure your piece of the valley today.
That's a quick snapshot of Mosaic. Again, by coincidence, it's been designed by Cox Rayner, but I think mixed use really will be a key theme we're going to see in the next 5 years. I think the one good thing about Brisbane, we've gone from being perhaps a one-dimensional city where our building uses have been primarily one thing to where now there's a whole variety of components to them. In terms of Mosaic, what is it? It's 250 apartments. It has a mixed-use podium of office, retail, restaurants. Probably the significant thing in terms of our market learning, and we've sold 30 million of real estate in the last 2 weeks, is that we're at an affordable price point. Our cheapest apartment is $350,000, our most expensive is $700,000. What surprised us though is that the more expensive product went first. Again, the interesting thing is comparing back to the start of this century, the Sydney investors were very strong. They bought the expensive product, and Brisbane people by and large bought the cheap product. We're finding the exact opposite in this cycle, where the expensive product is now being bought by Brisbane people and the cheaper product is being bought by our Sydney and Melbourne investors. Moving on to Hamilton Harbour. Hamilton Harbour is a joint venture with Divine Limited. We've very much enjoyed this joint venture with them. Divine have been very entrepreneurial in terms of their ability to go and sell now 350 apartments in just over 6 months. We launched Harbour 2 a week ago, and already sales are circa 120 in just over a week. Part of that was pent-up demand from Harbour 1, where people couldn't get the product mix that they wanted. But I think, again, it's an example of you put good real estate in known locations and get the pricing right, things can sell. And
it's my pleasure to introduce Tony Cope. He's the Head of Office for the GPT Group and is responsible for the investment management of the over $5 billion of assets in the core portfolio of the GPT and the GPT Wholesale Office Fund, and the acquisition and delivery of new developments for both GPT and the Wholesale Office Fund.
All right. Now, many of you would have been through the marketing suite we have on level 35 of the Riverside Centre, and the slides I'm going to use today is a subset of those slides. So I make no apologies that there's a definite marketing spin to the slides. The project will be complete towards the end of 2011, so we are full on marketing a very, very large building. It's going to be very challenging to fill this building, notwithstanding what the economy is doing at the time. The tagline you see up on the screens at the moment is really reinforcing what Andrew's just referred to, and that is this constant flight to quality. It's well proven, well known that in office markets, tenants always upgrade their space when they move. So what we're saying here is that the environment you work in influences your success. By moving into 111 Eagle Street, you're clearly saying to the market, you are a successful company. And part of that is, it is a world leader, this building. And I'm sorry if I'm sort of sounding very, very bullish about it, because not only are we targeting 6-star Green Star, which according to the Green Building Council of Australia is world leadership, we've done a lot of research around the world, ourselves, Leighton's, Cox Rayner and so on, looking at different buildings. And I must say, this building really does stand proud among some fantastic buildings which we have seen throughout the world. And I must admit, the way this building was built, I think, caused a lot of confusion in the market, or has caused a lot of confusion in the market over the past year or so, because for a long time there's all this activity happening on site, but there's no actual hole emerging. And there were rumours floating around Brisbane, and maybe some of you in the room started the rumours, that GPT had actually employed actors to to move dirt around the side and play with Tonka toys and all the rest, just to show that we're actually doing something. But in fact, while all those actors were there, and I must say dealing with the Leightons is probably a lot easier than dealing with the Actors Union, what Leightons were doing was plunging these enormous, or creating these enormous columns right 26 metres below the surface of the Riverside Plaza to actually put the big foundation footings in, and those are where the big V-shaped columns are now starting to emerge. So the building's actually being built up, as you can see now, but at the same time being built down. And P.D. Walker, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think when you get to the bottom of the basement, you're actually pouring level 39. So it's that sort of construction. Another positive aspect we feel of this building is the old Black Ink house was very much a block between Riverside and Riparian. You couldn't really see through the Riverside precinct, and that's a very important precinct for Brisbane. And one of the differentiating features, and there's many differentiating features of this development, is the vast lobby. The lobby is almost twice as high as the Riverside lobby on the eastern side. So you'll be able to see through the development, through to the river, through to the other side of the plaza. And this is just a shot shown from the Riparian Plaza side. The ceiling height at the perimeter will be just over 3 metres high, so very high ceilings. You can see internal sunshades there, and they've got two purposes. One is to stop the glare from the very bright Brisbane sky. In Brisbane, you've got very, very high glare factors, but also the light which hits those shelves and bounces along the ceiling, so it draws a lot more light into the building.
Look, could you join me in thanking both our speakers for a fantastic program?